Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the North American Corporate Chess League Finals, where 8 teams are left, and in a brutal knockout format, only one team will remain at the end of this evening. We're going to have action from companies all around the United States that make the wheels of our economy turn, and yet these very valuable employees are also very valuable chess players. In fact, we will have a most valuable chess player at the end of tonight. I'm Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky. Joining me today, my co-host, fellow Charlottian, Grandmaster Caden Trofe, and another fellow
Hello.
Charlottian joining at the start of the show, of course, the founder of the Charlotte Chess Center, my good friend, and of course, the creator of the NACCL, FIDE Master, Peter Giannatos. Peter the Greek.
Welcome.
Welcome all.
Welcome all.
Welcome all. Peter, absolutely great to see you. And yeah, I mean, you're a very talented chess player in your own right. FIDE master, for those unaware. Really just to kick off having you on, I'm curious what motivates you to not play as much as organize and kind of be in the background for many events, including this one.
Yeah, so I think for it's very similar to why these players are in the NACCL. Life kind of gets in the way. You try to build a career for yourself, but so I still very much stay in touch with the game. But I feel like my biggest value is off the board and encouraging other people to play and continue playing. So my efforts have been to the NACCL and of course the Charlotte Chess Center. But part of the reason for the NACCL was to give working professionals who love the game of chess, who were in touch with the game of chess, a chance to continue playing as they also balance their professional life as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, the NACCL has grown to include many grandmasters, incredibly strong teams that would probably not do too badly at the World Rapid and Blitz Championships in London. So maybe an idea there. But Peter, if you take us back, could you talk about the genesis of the NACCL? What prompted you to create this idea, and how did you flesh it out from, an idea that you had one evening to what we see today?
Yeah, so it kind of came about during the COVID times, during the pandemic times. It was 2020, and we were trying to find a void in the chess market, where things were not, kind of being catered to. And we thought that companies often do team building exercises when, the world is kind of in its normal rotation, but during the pandemic, things slowed down, and we thought it would be a great way to bring companies together recreationally and in a virtual way. And that's kind of how it came about. And our first season had just over 30 teams, so it was actually moderately successful given that it was a completely new concept at the time. And now we're sitting here in the season 11 with 43 teams, so it's grown quite a bit. Over the 11 seasons we've done this, we've had 80 to 90 unique companies play in the league, household names from all over North America. So we've had Canadian teams and many teams from the United States. So we have not yet had a team from Mexico yet. So we really hope that they are included in our league, but we'd love to have a company from Mexico join us maybe for season 12.
No, that's awesome. I really, really great to see that it is expanding. I got to be a part of season 10, and even from that, seeing some of the expansion and players and strength uh, leads into the question. I mean, you mentioned Mexico, but in general, do you have much that you're brewing for the future of this event, or just kind of keeping it the steady rate that it's going?
Yeah, so this was actually our a few new things happened this season. So this is our first season on Chess.com. We're very proud of that. Very happy to be on Chess.com. We're of course happy to be broadcasting the finals on Chess.com as well, hoping to raise awareness and ask other companies to join in on us on a league for season 12, and yeah, potentially other continental expansion. It may be on the horizon. It's certainly a possibility, But for right now, it'll remain the NACCL, and we'll see what happens.
Well, final question, Peter, before we let you enjoy these games. You obviously occupy a pretty unique niche in the sort of chess ecosystem. Could you sort of top off the interview by talking a little bit about your overall mission? What do you see your role in the chess world as being, and what sort of keeps you going day to day as you juggle the Chess Center, the NACCL, and many of your other responsibilities?
Yeah, I think what keeps me going is the concept
Other
that
than my lectures.
other than your lectures, is the concept that chess has a lot of areas that can be enhanced. And as a person who loves the game of chess, I still play every morning on Chess.com for like an
Oh, I
hour
know.
or so, play Blitz and so on. So I still very much in touch with the game, but not over the board that much anymore. So I think my driving focus is really to create a better environment for chess players, casual enthusiasts like those who play in the league or those who play at our casual meetups, let's say at the center, and even high level players that play in our US Masters events or Norm events. So really just trying to provide a better experience for chess players overall, and using my love and understanding of the game to help promote that and push it forward. So I guess that's what drives me to be more of an organizer than a player these days. But like I said, I'm still getting my games in on Chess.com, for better or for worse.
Well, we're going to get the North American Corporate Chess League finals games in after a short break. FIDE Master Peter Giannatos, enjoy the finals. The commentary I heard is going to be pretty mediocre, but nonetheless, I'm sure these players will keep us entertained. Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
And have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we're not even taking a break. All right. Well, now that we are fully primed, seatbelts are fastened, and we've heard from the founder of the Charlotte Chess Center and the Corporate Chess League. Let's get to the games. We have 8 teams currently in the competition. 4 of them, of course, will be knocked out. This is a knockout finals format. Then the remaining 4 teams will play each other. And in the third round, the 2 last companies standing will contest the title of Corporate Chess League champion. Grandmaster Caden Trofe, you are contesting the title of my co-commentator. Are you excited?
Oh, well, I'm really excited. I enjoy this event. I enjoy the time control. 10 minutes with a 2-second increment. It's one of those that you think you have time until all of a sudden you're blundering everything and losing your whole house. So it looks like we do have liftoff now. We were told, and it looks like there could be a potential forfeit, which is actually very significant in this top match between Symmetra and Price Waterhouse Coopers, which would be Symmetra actually forfeiting on board 4. We'll wait to see if that actually goes through or not, but Symmetra is the #1 team, sporting title players on each board, so they will really need to show up on these top 3 boards.
Yeah, they'll need a sort of, let's call it an asymmetrical performance, because Yannick Hambrath, international master, that was a pickup game for him. I mean, he was playing a 1780, and we've seen throughout the Corporate Chess League lots of upsets, but this is a solid European IM. This is a big blow for Symmetra, and we hope that he makes it for the next round. We're watching board 1, which is a very close matchup here. Andrei Barishpilets, originally from Ukraine, he even ran for FIDE president a couple of years back, and he faces off against international master, originally from Georgia. I've played him actually in a tournament in Charlotte, Irakli Baradze. Kaden, do you know both of these players?
Barrett Bullets, of course, I've seen quite a number of times, not much personal action. Baradze, he introduced me to his chess through this event. Very, very impressive player. And because of how the ratings worked out, he's actually taking board one over his GM teammate. So I think that speaks volumes to his strength. We see a very, very solid, well, solid-ish opening as the win rate for white is creeping up there. Uh, Bearish Bullets looks to be winning the opening stage of this game thus far.
Yeah, the Catalan is the scourge of. I don't
Yeah.
know a single player who likes playing against the Catalan with black. At the same time, it's one of those openings that you hate facing with black, and then you try playing it as white, and it's like driving a bus. You got to know, when to slam on the brakes, when to press the gate. You can't just casually play the Catalan. And we see here one of the many ideas, Caden, that you might not know if you're just sort of casually observing. This knight retreating to d2, protecting c4, and simultaneously preparing is very, very thematic e2, e4 pawn break.
Yeah, I love this knight d2. I used to play the Catalan and then switched off of it because there were these bishop b4 check lines that provoked, me as with the white pieces to play bishop d2. And I never getting a knight there, just felt the struggle of breaking through in the center, getting that e4 break. So here, I if this is what the Catalan looked like every time, knight on d2, preparing e4, I think I would have stayed with it and instead of switching
Yes,
things
please sign me
away.
up.
Yeah, this looks fantastic. Now a little bit of hesitation. I wondering e4 feels like the time, but you always have to anticipate the c5 counter break.
There we go. E4 is on the
And
board, and I think c5 will follow pretty quickly.
what is going on here?
Oh,
Do
man, you'll have
we
to do most of the heavy lifting in terms of the calculation because I just played way too many hours of Hyperbullet chasing that elusive
hyperbole, yeah.
qualification, which is
It's just
anti-calculation.
about just mouse skills, right? You
Just
definitely don't
mouse
don't
skills,
think.
aim trainer, and that's it. You're in the Hyperbullet finals.
Yeah, that's why everybody's so good at hyperbole. It's that
Exactly,
easy.
exactly.
Um, yeah, C5, I would strongly be thinking about like E takes D5 first, D4 kind of allow that, and then eyeing something wild like knight B5, wild like D takes E6, and reasonable like knight E4 or knight E2. But
Yeah.
these positions are always so tricky with so many pawn captures because I mean white can avoid all of that and play like d takes c5 and I think is a big part of the hesitancy of playing c5 in the first place is you push the pawn into the center and it's your opponent who gets to decide exactly how the trades are happening, which is not a fun place to be
Keep
by
talking.
any
I'm just going
means.
to keep capturing people, just showing people. And actually, the evaluation remains equal. This is
Stay.
unbelievable. And B takes A1 queen is actually a mistake because white takes black's queen, black takes white's queen, and I got more queens than you got. No, I got more rooks than you got at the end of the day. This would be a close to a record for number of consecutive captures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 moves of consecutive captures would result in a
Good
victory for white.
gracious.
You don't see that
Yeah.
every day. And we're not going to
Uh,
see that in this game.
absolutely not. It's fun to take stuff, but you have to be reminded that this is chess, not checkers. Because of the time being spent, I kind of expect Baradze to maybe not play c5. If he liked it, he would have played it already, and there we see d takes e4.
Yeah.
So advantage for white, but I mean it's still a solid position. White controls the center, but black has some very solid pieces, a solid structure, and just waits for the right moment to strike.
Yeah, and we've got some developments on the other boards. We also have obviously all the matches going on, so we won't be able to, to capture all of the intrigue, but we'll do our best. Thank you, Dina, for the raid. Party of 265. Welcome to the NACCL finals. We've got a quick knockout here being scored on board 3 as expected by Andrei
Really?
Stukopin. And they've got that 2-bit punch, right? Stukopin and Belarus, longtime childhood friends. both originally from Russia. I played them both in the same tournament in 2009.
Oh, wow.
Then they both moved to the U.S. I think they studied at the University of Texas Brownsville, and now gainfully employed. And gainfully employed is Stu Kopen as the resident farmer for Symmetra. This is
Yeah, and
nightmare Alapin.
this is, I mean, outside of the potential dangers of the Alpin, also a testament to the two bishops. It's worth noting two bishops in a closed position, but because he has that control over the light squares, it's just beautiful.
I just heard Nimzovich moan in pain. I mean, Bishop A3 here might concretely just win a pawn, and it might also win the game, because once like the first pawn crumbles, the whole position is going to, as lazy commentators like to say, fall apart like a house of cards.
I mean, chess sometimes is that simple though. You know, when C3 guards D4 and D4 guards E5, uh, you want to say that it's all solid, but yeah, as soon as one falls, it's crumbling down.
Yeah.
And yeah, just tough position. I mean, I dream as white of a scenario I get to play knight T2, but that's very far from ever being realistic. And okay, he
Yeah, that
prepared it,
pawn's going to be a
but
B5 there before you can even like finish the
a dream
thought about playing
before.
C4.
I mean, I think quickly sometimes. You know, I know you play a lot faster and think a lot faster than me, but I can pretend every now and then, Danya.
Don't you undersell yourself, my friend.
I appreciate it.
All
So
right.
looking very good on board three here, and
Yeah.
do expect Stuart Copen, unfortunately, already to run away with it. You can't give a higher rated position this type of
Yeah.
playground and expect to come back.
This is over. So that's going to be a big win for Symmetra. They got to get boards 2 and 3 because they obviously have the massive rating advantage, but they got the forfeit on board 4. So it's really going to come down, I think, very likely to board 1. But before we get to the other matchups, just very, very quickly, it has not been an easy run for Belarus, the other grandmaster here, who I think now is in charge of the game. But just a little bit earlier, Caden, I almost called you just a little bit earlier, like Black was solidly better according to the eval bar, but this move bishop to g6 was too cooperative, gave away the bishop pair, and enabled white to drive this wedge into the center. I think the key is that by keeping the bishop on h5, okay, no, this allowed g4. So maybe the move was f7, f5?
Cool.
It was bishop takes f3, actually. We're supposed to just eliminate the knight. And the point is that white can't play d5 now. This undermines the entire point I was going to make about the bishop pair. So forget I said it.
Wait, is I mean that D4 pawn I guess is a bit of a long-term target as well, which is interesting and some fun possible tactics there for black. I guess we just don't worry about the H7 pawn. Crazy. I mean, this game's flying by, but Belos, yeah, I mean, that's
Now
you're
it's over.
highlighting that center control. I mean, you can start your own chess center with how good that's looking.
That's yeah, in honor of these pawns. Let's take a look at the other matches. At least we can highlight who's playing on the second matchup. Jane Street versus Stripe, and board 1 for Jane Street is a pretty prominent FIDE master, Jacob Furfine, and he's got a pretty Furfine position here, I think, out of Jabava London.
Yeah, Jacob Furvine is an absolute beast. Last season, he led Jane Street to the #1 spot and won the individual prize, borderline going undefeated, winning all of his games. So, on this Jane Street team, even though he wasn't the leader for his team this season, he's an absolute monster. And the way he's playing, I saw a lot last season. Very solid, just kind of lets you stew until you make one slip and he pounces. He gets you every single time. So you cannot give him that little bit.
And this is a structure I've had so many times. It's equal objectively, right? But white seems to have more fun. Black is potentially hinting at e6, e5. This is not the most interesting position. I think Furfine is a little bit of pressure. As we keep going around the horn, just a quick mention that there are 5 boards playing for each team, but board 5 is a Armageddon. So the reason board 5 is important is if the team ties, If the 4 boards tie and they go 2-2, then the result on the 5th board becomes important, and only then. Black gets draw odds, so the 5th board is played out in the event of a tie. It becomes important as the knight transitions to c5. We've got really nice pressure here by the FIDE master, Jacob Furfine. Okay, what else do we have? We have...
There is a result
crushing
already in the Andorel versus Meta.
my gosh.
Which I know.
What?
Yeah.
Oh
Board 4
goodness.
has taken the victory, and as you pointed out with the Armageddon, it makes all these matches super important because tie, it's not like you get another chance. No, potentially you tie these 4 games, you're out.
Kaushik, the hyperbullet qualifiers, they're over. It's time for the big boys to step in. 8 minutes and 50 seconds on Black. So you've got to take your time. You just got destroyed. We don't have time to highlight this game because we've got some absolutely fascinating positions elsewhere. Andoril board 1, Roland Fang, I think, is taking care of business. But we have another position I wanted to highlight here as, where was it? Just a moment. Kyron Griffiths is playing as well. There was a position with a black king on d6, and now I'm looking for it. Just give me a second.
While you look for that, I do want to note that Griffith,
this one,
top player for Lyft, and Roland Fang, the top player for Andoril, were 2 players who tied for the individual prize. So some fantastic results from them, and fearsome players. But king on what?
Yep. Well, that's because Black played a French. I mean, what else do you expect? This was a French tirage. So basically, they played 6 moves on their own because this is all theory. This is theory. Bishop e7 is inaccurate, and especially combined with f6, White, I think, missing a beautiful chance to just knock the game out with knight f4, but he plays it a little bit later. Oh, Black has to go g6 here. You can't. Oh my God, the king voluntarily goes on a walk. And was there rook takes c6 here?
I would think so. Rook takes e6 looks beautiful. Give me those central pawns. Give me the 2 things keeping your king alive. Good luck. Have fun.
But I love the move he played. b3 is honestly, in terms of quiet moves, that has its own beauty. Deploying the bishop to a3. This is nasty.
Yeah, the subtle moves, those are really good to see. It's easy to forget about those subtle moves when the king is in the middle of the board, but if you don't have checkmate, look at what else you can bring into the position. This is the tiebreak game, or sorry, the Armageddon game between Jane Street and Stripe. So very, very important game in and of itself, as this could be the decider of the match right here.
Ooh. And we got more action here on another Armageddon game. We got Barishpalitz now with the big advantage. And looking at Belous's game, though, and Vladimir is far from delivering a convincing victory against his much outrated opponent.
I thought he was
winning.
This. Wow, what happened? The turnaround. We kind of left it thinking he was on his way to win, and now
he went e6 trying to convert his advantage from this commanding center into checkmate, and he just didn't have enough pieces. Black just took the pawn, stepped forward to d6, saying, I want the queen trick, get out of there. And Vladimir ran out of steam, so he's forced now to pick up the pawn on d5. And I think the deciding factor, Caden, might be the clock. Black is nervous. Like, if I draw this game, that's a huge result.
That is a huge result.
I think he's a little too low on time.
Yeah, I agree. However, it's really, really important to fight. I was just taking a look. Symmetra is losing on their Armageddon game. So with the forfeit, with the Armageddon potentially not going their way, with Barish Poletz in the driver's seat in his game, Symmetra, the #1 team from the 6 weeks leading into the knockout, is in danger.
They are.
It's not expected.
Bellows needs to win this game with White. He must win this game, and Black has a 3-on-1. Like, if you asked me to choose a side, I would choose Black here and just keep pushing. The issue is that White's king is going to stop it on c1, and then h6 is hanging. 30 seconds now for John Fashuk. He keeps playing it super precise. I mean, Black could win this.
Yeah, b4 is very nice because the b6 square, which is where Belos would sneak his rook behind the pass pawn, is being guarded. So rook takes h6, kind of in question. Oh, wait,
Careful.
rook seven. No, wait, don't listen to me. Don't listen to me.
King g7 now. Stop rook
King g7,
h7.
very important.
Eating into those final 30 seconds. Now he is playing hyperbullet.
And 2 seconds is not a lot of time. I mean, it's nice to have an increment because you can, in theory, stop from flagging, but
10
it doesn't mean
seconds,
you're stopped
Caden.
from blundering.
He's panicking. I can just feel, I know exactly what you feel as a player who's 600 points outrated, 5 seconds on the clock. Gotta stop rook h7. 2 seconds,
Goodness.
gotta move. He goes the wrong way. And he's gonna lose the pawn endgame.
No way. Is
And
it that
Vladimir
simple? I mean,
Belos, it is because he's got the trousers.
yeah, and Belos has the time. If he was also low on time, easy to make the wrong decision here, deciding between endgame or keep rooks on the board. But
Easy
with
clap.
5 minutes, yeah.
h4, the corner pawn's going to go, and these pawns, the e pawn and the h pawn, are going to overextend black's king. Black's pawns are way too slow because you'd have to bring up your king. Yeah, no. AB and h6 and goodbye.
Oh,
So
now
a
you're not
big
even
win for
catching the pawn.
Symmetra. But they need Baradze to
It's not
save the
over.
game.
Yeah, it is not over by any means. Uh,
Okay, this one's over.
board one is where this will be decided. I mean, Belos pulling that out is huge, and able to do that gives them, I would say, a solid chance. But oh my goodness, this does not look like fun for Black.
Currently, PWC is losing 2-1, but if Barishblitz wins, their Armageddon board has it in the bag. He's up a piece and 3 pawns and 4 minutes. So Baradze must save the game, otherwise board 5 kicks in, and he is getting Catalan crunched here. This is such a classic pawn. And whenever a pawn lands on c5 like this, and you don't have a knight, it's bad, really bad.
Yeah, yeah. The one downside to c5 is a weak d5 square, but when the d5 square isn't so weak, then I just see free diagonal actually helping me put pressure on your c6 pawn, and a bit of a tough spot to be in as Black. I don't really want to play b takes c5, d takes c5. Could just let White get rid of their potentially weak pawn on d4. But it means you're constantly eyeing c takes b6, and okay, we see b5. He didn't want to deal with that,
Yeah,
trying to
he's just
relieve
like,
some
get rid of
pressure.
this. Now, both sides down to a minute. In fact, most players are still playing. It's crazy. Everyone's down to like a minute, but a lot of the games are still like in the early middle game. So we're going to get some wild time scrambles here. This is definitely where the action is at. This is where we're going to keep our focus because, I mean, this is a very high rated matchup. Barishbalits himself down to a minute, and we know how quickly things can turn around, especially if Black starts putting pressure on the d4 pawn. That's why White puts the queen on f3 to prevent rook c to d8.
What are we
But
looking
Black,
for? A little a takes
I would take,
b5.
put a rook on a7 and take on b7.
Yeah, and you're almost looking to play rook takes b7, bishop takes c6, and just say, I have a lot of pawns and some fantastic light squares.
He's rolling down the board, and rook a8, you'll definitely take on b7 because at that point, it's not even a sacrifice.
I'm wondering if Baradze, I mean, I would assume Baradze might be aware of the score. I mean, I'm nervous for him. This is very
Is there
scary.
like d5? I mean, h5, this is what you have the luxury of doing on the white side and on the advantage side in these types of positions. Will he sack his exchange? I wouldn't do it in a time scramble situation. I just step back to a6.
Yeah, it's fun to play rook takes a8, but unnecessary, right? H5 signaling a potential bishop c2, queen e4, attacking on the other side as well. When you have all the pressure in the world, why complicate it with a sacrifice? And there we see it, rook a6.
Man,
This
Jade
would
Street
be
versus Stripe, all 4 boards still going in that match.
It's, and for the most part, it's still pretty close in those games, some back
Yeah.
and forth results. I do want to point out that in the Armageddon game, it is Price Waterhouse Coopers PWC, who their player is up a piece, up time, and on their way to win.
Ooh,
So
And by the
I
way,
think
in Anduril versus Meta, like the Armageddon game is also going to be important because currently Meta is winning 2-1, but Anduril is winning on board 1. Roland Fang, I think, is going to defeat Praveen Sanjay. I'm just quickly pulling up that game. However, Anduril's Armageddon board lost, so this match is in the bag for Meta. Let's switch back to Barish Bulitz's game. He's down at 17 seconds. We've got a barn burner of a time scramble here to start things off. Let's
yeah,
go.
this is rook trade, but still the pressure.
Baradze holding on, though. He's holding on, and now Barish Blitz down on time. He needs to win this game. Oh, and how do you defend this pawn?
Yeah, and the plus side, if Baradze is aware of the score, he understands perfectly well that he can
Careful.
just draw. A draw means they win,
Rook
which is a
D2.
nice place to be.
Now, Rook D1 would have run into E5. Black provoking a weakness. Baradze is doing a fantastic job of holding things together. I think Barish Blitz's last hope is to send this G-pawn down the board.
Yeah, G4, G5, feeling good. He starts it with King H2, potentially opening Rook G2 as well. I don't know if you want to let that queen come in.
Too much hesitation. Got to go G4. Can still go
This
G4.
queen on A3. Oh man, Baradze, what a beast. Good gracious. He is holding on very well. Rook sliding over to A1 though.
White keeps traveling down the same avenues. You know, Insanity is doing the same thing, hoping for a different result. 10 seconds now for both players with a 2-second increment.
And the back and forth, both players watching the pawn, C6 and B4.
Oh, look what I found. But that check leads nowhere. That's a dead end.
Wait a second.
Gotta go G4, 5 seconds. Maybe D5?
It's got to be some break. This is one the computer just looks at and laughs at us players, but he trades.
He's allergic to G4.
And
he's trading all the pieces. Barish Blitz is sleepwalking into a draw.
What is happening? Is he now relying on G4, G5? It's just not as convincing as it's been in the past.
Yeah, you don't have the men to actually, well, I mean, still King D3 and G5. I think Black is still very much in danger of losing this game. In fact, I'd say this is 50-50 still.
Yeah, I kind of wanting Black's king to go over to that side just to defend. I don't know if it needs to be on C7.
Oh, Bishop H7 maybe. By the way, Jane Street defeated Stripe 4-0.
Wow.
5-0, actually. Their Armageddon board won as well.
Yeah, Jane Street, they didn't come into the knockouts as the #1 team, but what a beast of a team.
Barish Blitz finally gets his bishop in. He's been way too hesitant in this time scramble to create threats. Now he senses the right path.
King on E4. No, King G4. Okay, F5 starting to open up.
Ernst & Young defeating Lyft 4-0 as well.
Wow, that's actually very surprising. I would have expected that one to be a semi-close match.
Still don't know what's going on. They're trading off pawns. White is relying on this D5 pawn break at some point. But how is he going to make it happen? F6, he blunders the bishop! Barish Blitz is going to lose.
My goodness. And that's man, that means Symmetra lives. They live to tell the tale.
Unbelievable. Baradze actually turns this around. So many chances for Barish Blitz.
What a performance.
But don't take on B4 and allow this pawn through. I mean, King E6 and the game is over. Black only needs a draw. Yeah, it's over.
Yeah.
Baradze wins the game.
Oh my gosh, what a defense. I mean, draw felt possible, but to hold on for that long, to let time pressure show through and to win is incredible. It's one of the most difficult things to do in chess. Defend that low on time. So very impressive.
This was the last chance, Caden. Instead of King F4, you had to establish the king here, and after G6, one very instructive subtlety. You don't go King F6. You don't go King takes G6, although apparently that's also winning. King F6 is more precise, provoking Bishop E7, and now you take. The pawn endgame is winning because you get your king to E3 in time. How did Barish Blitz not see all that in 5 seconds? What a scrub.
I know. That's definitely, we saw combinations like this being played in the hyperbolic qualifiers
Oh
earlier.
yeah.
Berishpol is just not as up to date with his speed skills. Now, Andrel and Meta did end 2-2 and is our first for the Armageddon. We do see it. Meta takes it 3-2. The Armageddon game comes in clutch for them. And I mean, incredible. All these players on board 5 fighting. They don't know if the result is going to matter or not, but for Meta, it absolutely did. And they are through to play against Jane Street, who just went 5-0 against Stripe.
Yep, they didn't need their Armageddon, but they got that one as well. 4-0 decisive wipeout by Jane Street. Of course, board 1, Jacob Furpine, great positional game. And what a barn burner as Symmetra, despite forfeiting on board 4, they were on the ropes, but Vladimir Belois and Irakli Baradze both come through and they knock out a powerhouse in Price Waterhouse Cooper. But they're priced out of the competition as only 4 teams remain. Ernst & Young, of course, Anduril Ernst & Young, Meta, then Jane Street, and finally Symmetra. Those 4 teams will contest the semifinals. But first, we'll let the players catch their breath. We'll catch our breaths ourselves, and we'll let you do the same. The NACCL returns with the semifinals in just a couple of minutes.
Throughout the year, we have this ongoing collaboration with RLs. We host workshops, tournaments for the people who are experiencing homelessness. And to be honest, it's just amazing to see the joy and the confidence that chess brings to their life.
El ajedrez lo que tiene es una posibilidad de hacer conocimientos o de establecer relaciones intergeneracionales. Puedes jugar hombres, mujeres, niños, niñas, y entonces esto es muy interesante. Y también de alguna manera pues iguala a todo tipo de persona, ¿no? Dentro del programa ocupacional intentamos generar actividades que tengan relación con las competencias o con los gustos de las personas. Aquellas actividades que de alguna manera les motiven, les sean significativas. Y hay muchas personas a las que les gusta el ajedrez.
Me relaja mucho, porque termino una partida y después una tranquilidad maravillosa. Me olvido de todo.
Hemos organizado unas partidas y han venido 3 personas a jugar partidas simultáneas que han atraído a mucha gente.
When we see a grandmaster with a first-time player, and when we see people who don't even play but are so interested by the game and, sharing and watching, that's the real magic of this initiative.
I have a rating of over 1,000. I think this event organized by Chess.com and the Grandmaster Maurice Ashley was just a great experience for me to come here. I got absolutely destroyed, but it was at least fun participating, and I took a great opportunity to just unite with other people that play chess, and I'm just happy to be here.
It was fantastic to be able to play out in open air in Barcelona. A lot of great players. I had some tough games. I was a little slow, but it's what it was. I didn't want to lose any games. I had some good positions, but they played me tough. So it was quite a bit of fun.
Las personas que viven en la calle y que están vulneradas son personas de ciudadanos de primera como todas las personas. Y entonces todas las actividades que puedan hacer visible esta igualdad, esta equiparación con el resto de ciudadanos es interesante.
It's amazing to be a part of a game, see the magical power that it has, that it can transform lives. We see it happen all over the world, and to see it happening here in Barcelona, it's such a great cause with homeless people who may have life a little bit tough, but get a chance to take a little bit of break and play some chess. I think it's a wonderful initiative that Chess.com has started.
It's not just chess. It's about community, it's about dignity, it's about joy and action. So yeah, chess is for everyone. When we say that, we really mean it.
It's important to play like knight a5. I think I'll just put it on my board, and it's like this. This is also a very sharp lines, especially for beginners. And black need to play this because attack. And here you cannot go this move because of this move. Because this is attack with queens and rooks. If you play this, you can take, but after queen f3, then you can take back with this. Then after that, your king is moved, and also white is a pawn up. So this is a famous trap for the beginners. And also, it's important to play at knight a5. That I think for many teachers, for a beginner of a chess player, they will teach cannot play this move.
Wear your love of chess on your sleeve with all new apparel and accessories from the Chess.com merch store. Maybe you simply want a clock that will never run out, or a mouse pad that will finally unlock your speed chess potential. Whether you play chess to get energized with your morning coffee, or play into the wee hours of the night and witness the occasional alien abduction, we've got something for every king, queen, and knight in shining armor. Even gift cards for your loved ones who've caught the chess bug. So check out the Chess.com shop for apparel, accessories, and more. Grab your favorites before they're gone.
Grandmaster Caden Trofe and Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky with you this evening to cover now the semifinals of the North American Corporate Chess League in its 11th season, now with the participation of so many title players. And a couple of those title players are already eliminated. 4 teams have to bid goodbye to their title aspirations, but 4 teams remain. And we have good news for Symmetra. Yannick Cambrath has made it.
Yeah, they I guess it's good their insurance company, because they definitely used it in that first round, the seemingly easiest one, or should have been, but proving that all these top 8 teams are absolute fearsome competitors. Well, I was stressing for them. Not that I'm picking sides, but that game was intense, coming down to the absolute wire. And now we see Symmetra versus Ernst and Young, and Meta versus Jane Street.
Yeah, I know. Of course, now that Cambrath has arrived, assuming he's in one piece, they have the most lopsided matchup. Symmetra are the heavy favorites, so I'll keep an eye on that one. I think a closer match is promised in Meta versus Jane Street. I think Jane Street is still pretty overwhelmingly the favorite. And I think the same would go for PWC. And the same would go for, let's see, Stripe versus Andrew. That might be the closest match that we have. Let's transition for a second to Cal versus Fang. Wait, didn't Stripe lose?
Yeah, so the bottom four, or the teams that lost, will still be
Oh,
playing for 5th through 8th place. So all those teams still get to play their 3 games, but it is the winners of that first round
okay.
that
My
are
bad.
playing for the finals.
Thank you. Yeah, I wasn't sure. Am I crazy? I could swear they lost, but my memory isn't what it used to be. I'm not going to be working for Ernst and Young. I'll be working for Ernst and Old pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean you're getting up there. How long did it take you to qualify for the Hyper Bowl
It
today?
took me, a couple of years, and back in my day, I could qualify in the morning, but now I had to play 7 entire qualifiers to qualify. And mouse speed not what it used to be. That brain
It
of mine
used to
don't
be.
work fast anymore.
Yeah, but
Look what Charlotte did to me, Caden.
it's we still love you. We love you,
Aw.
Donnie. You're
Whoa,
great.
whoa, 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 whoa. Alert, alert,
The,
alert. Yeah, go on.
already still
Keep talking,
whoa.
keep talking.
Okay, I think I have an idea what game you're talking about, but I have to say this first game that you pulled up, the Sanjay Firvine,
Hmm.
there's still a lot of development here, and seems to be the way for a lot of these games. No standout, just a lot of solid positions. Kind of makes me feel that the players on all these teams are trying not to just blunder out of the gate
I
and
don't
maybe
know,
leaning
man.
for the more solid approach. Okay, Queen H5 that you highlighted.
I mean, Yannick Cambrath, I hope, because I've had that experience where you're running late to a tournament. One time I was running late to a pro chess league match. We were playing for the Berkeley Chess Club, and I had to drive from Palo Alto, Stanford campus, to Berkeley during rush hour. Anybody watching this from the Bay Area knows what kind of a nightmare drive that is when it's not rush hour. So I get to Berkeley just around the time the match is supposed to start. There's no parking anywhere. And
No.
I just park somewhere. And then as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I didn't read the sign. What if my car gets towed? What if, all my windows are broken in? And when you're thinking about those types of things, when you're still thinking about work, when you're still thinking about, whether you're going to get a ticket, that makes it hard to play. And even though Yannick Cambrath has a big rating advantage, if white plays Queen H5 here, I'm liking that kingside attack.
Yeah, it's you're definitely being pressured to play G6, which you don't want to do, as your bishop is not being fianchettoed but sitting on D6. But if you don't play G6, you're kind of reducing to defending that F7 square with your queen, with your rook, a bishop on E6 that can easily be attacked through F5.
Ugh.
Yeah, no convenient way to defend. That's why I find a lot of beauty in the simple threats, because sometimes your opponent just cannot defend it in any fun way. E4, oh, E4
Well, the
also.
computer goes feral. It's recommending E4,
Oh,
just opening a second front. But either way, it feels like the lower rated player in these types of situations oftentimes will take a lot of time. He'll be on the right track, but that rating disadvantage will cause him to hesitate. And I'm worried that that's precisely what will unfold on this board. So this is a big one because an upset would go a long way toward affording some chances to the underdog team. Okay,
yeah,
which of
that
course in this
was
case is Ernst and Young.
yeah, that was something we saw with the Bellows game. Even though it was an equal end game, the time advantage showed through. And I think often with
Bellows
these
is
higher rated
losing.
players, already
Look at
it's
this
too early for
position.
that. That's
He's
too early.
black. He's black
I'm
in this
still
game. Is Bellows? What?
no way.
C4 is just
What
crushing in this position.
what tragedy? Wait, what?
How did this happen? This was an
With
Aleph
this
and Sicilian.
okay, you have to tell me if Queen D7 earlier, was that a mouselet?
Bishop
I
F5
imagine not,
is
but
not really a move, but it shouldn't be that bad. E6 here. What on earth was that? Gotta play queen takes D6. He just allowed white to protect the D pawn.
I I am not quite yeah, this looks really bad and semi-simple play for white. Okay, F6
Oh
trying to
boy.
complicate it, but can you go wrong as white? I mean, you have rook E1, maybe rook E1 right away,
I think black
ready to
wants to castle
sacrifice.
queenside, though. You got to be careful. If you lose the D6 pawn, you lose your advantage.
Yeah.
So, Caden, I think what worries me is C4. was even stronger on the previous move. But what you have to see as white is that you can meet e5 with bishop takes e5. And in fact, e5 is not a threat because takes. And if queen e6, you have this incredible move, rook to e1.
Rook e1. Oh, goodness.
It's a savage move, and you recover the bishop with 3 extra pawns.
Yeah, just when you think you are the one that wants to trade queens because you're up the piece, you're reminded that tactics still exist even without queens on the board. Oh, c4 is nasty. Will he be able to find it though? I mean, you don't have too much time here, the 10 minutes, but if you're going to spend time as white, this feels like the place to do it. So having that sense, absolutely fantastic to see from Joel. I would love to see him find it. Like, nothing against Bellows, but it's just such a cool move.
Yes, c4. It's even harder to find on this move. We have crazy games on a lot of the boards here. Already a result, Alexander Fogel, board 3 for PWC, has defeated his vis-a-vis on Lyft. And we will go to board 4 uber fast because it's an extra queen, ladies and gentlemen, for Lyft. Or no, who is playing white? It's Morrison. Who is he representing?
Morrison should be
PWC, huh?
Yes.
Oh, no. Look what happened. He took the wrong knight. He played queen takes d4 and he blundered. Oh, no. You gotta... Oh, man. He wishes we didn't show that.
Abort. I don't know.
Abort. Get it out of
ever
our face.
happened. This is not live stream. This is no record of this. We'll burn it all down. It's fine. Nothing ever happened.
So that means Kyron Griffith has to win. And board 2 for Lyft, Prashant Mittal has to defeat his opponent rated 600 points higher. That ain't gonna happen, I think.
It's a small task. 600 points. That's an afternoon. Good afternoon. I wonder with Bearish Pullets. I mean, Griffith was an absolute beast during the regular season. Bearish Pullets has to be thinking about that game, knowing he had in that first round a chance at taking down the top seed. Doing okay, but Griffith, I feel like, is going to be a lot more ready for this, has the better position. I like his chances all around.
There's so much going on that I'm just trying to capture everything. Stukopin is absolutely destroying Count Louis. This is Symmetra versus Ernst & Young. Symmetra is the tournament favorite. Let's be clear about that. Vladimir Belois has fully recovered, by the way. White didn't find c4. Sad news for what really had to go right, I think, for Ernst & Young, for them to score this upset. And
yeah, that was the key game. Yeah, it's when you get those chances against such a powerhouse, you have to accept it. Stuart Copen just dominating on the light squares in every which way possible. Queen f3, bishop c4.
Rook takes. I mean, there's like bishop f7, rook e5 actually might be a crusher, but it's not even worth calculating. Just play Russian schoolboy mode. I mean, literally.
Take pawn.
Stukopin once was.
Although don't play queen takes a6. We just saw this tactic.
Yeah, Mr. Ryan Wang can caution Andrei Stukopin against taking on a6.
Yeah, I don't perceive much worry there, though. Stukopin, I'm sure, has discovered many tactics like that before in his career.
Yeah, a couple of years earlier. By the way, this game, the one that I mentioned earlier, he did play queen h5, but he followed it up, to my eyes, with a pretty sleek rook lift. Of course, the queen is protected via the pin, but black is bringing in the defenders and white's starting to run low on the clock. This isn't feeling great for team Ernst & Young.
Yeah, fascinating, because I mean, queen h5 lifting the rook feels so natural, but it's taking me back to the computer suggestion earlier that you pointed out with e4. Not always the most natural when it feels like you're checkmating your opponent on the king side to be thinking about that central play, but bringing the knight in, able to contest the piece, because that's what it feels like is keeping Yannick in this game. He's fighting major pieces with minor pieces, and at the end of the day, major pieces are very strong. They're stronger, but they're worth more. So you can hit a bit of a brick wall is just not being able to sacrifice, not being able to break through when that type of setup starts to unfold.
No, this is 2 minutes and a half now for White. He's spinning his wheels in the mud. And let's give some love to our other winners matchup, Meta versus Jane Street. We have that board one, Jacob Furfine of the Black Thesis here, and a very fine position indeed. What do you think? Look at that concentration in the center.
I see the eval bar going. It has to be very materialistic with queen takes a4, just saying that pawn on a2. Yeah, the control over the center, and I'm also eyeing this knight on e4. I feel like that's where a lot of White's problems are stemming from. That knight on e4 is centralized, but where is it going? Knight g5 just feels like it's doing nothing, and then most of the other squares are your own piece. I will allow you if you want to take your own piece, no complaints. But knight kind of blocks the bishop, the rook.
Ooh, look at by the way, I got to interrupt you, Caden. We got a big development on board 4. Matthias Schundi, who is a local, I think, from Charlotte, from North Carolina for sure. He is about to massacre. Blood. This is going to end in blood.
Bishop c5, calm down.
Blood will be shed in this position.
Is it rook takes e5, rook takes e5, rook e1, just slow and steady?
I would just play rook
dominate?
d1. Don't leave the rook out of the party.
I mean, that's a sensible option, but when you have the chance to sacrifice the rook, I'm willing to listen to Levy on this one and play rook takes e5.
I gotta go with Caden Tall here. And by the way, Shundi, very dangerous player. He defeated Benjamin Bach in round 1 of the US Masters. I've seen him with my own eyes score a lot of over the board upsets. So he is a huge asset for Jane Street, as he will score a big victory. And if Jacob Furfine wins, that means they only need half a point on the remaining 2 boards. And I think Christopher Yang on board 2 has it in the bag. But let's keep watching this game. Let's see how Shundi finishes it off.
Yeah, I want to see fireworks. I feel like he can continue a very sensible path. Knight d5, trying to bring the knight in as an option. Bishop e6. You could prepare the rook takes e5 idea with rook d5. I imagine there's even more moves. Like, there's so many options when your opponent's king is on e8 and not castling. Don't get confused. It does not have the right to castle anymore. It has moved. Just need to open it up.
And even if you did, he got that covered as rook d5. I wonder what he's setting up here. What could it be, Caden? I don't know. Is there a threat? There's no threat. I think Black can just improve his position, maybe like a5.
Yeah, definitely he wants to double the rooks. That's what a lot of people do. And
no, Ken. He wants positional expansion. A4, a5 grabs some space on the queen side.
I always forget about my expansions on the queen side when I'm checkmating my opponent in the center.
Speaking of the queen side expansion, I remember when the Utah Grandmaster Caden Trove crushed Daniel Naroditsky at the 2015 U.S. Championship. And Damien Nash.
Oh, good gracious. You're taking me back. It's every now and then you remind me that you actually do know other Utah players, which is a fun and interesting experience in our conversations.
I just gotta roll out the names and you least expect. Speaking of not expected, we got that Cam Brath game, and just as we did expect, unfortunately, a debacle on the clock and on the board. Look at what happened in this position. White played knight to g4, which is a really cool move. You're sacking the queen. Please take me. I'm going to take your king. Yannick Cambrath is like, I wasn't born yesterday. In fact, I was born decades ago, and it feels like decades ago that White had a successful attack, because right now he's crumbling.
Yeah, and Cambrath, rushing into this game, as you mentioned, I really like his strategy. Just, even though it looks scary, keeping it solid, giving himself some time to get in the right mindset for this. Unfortunately for Prado here, he's played one of the most beautiful but not good games. These moves look really nice, but at the end of the day, if you can't break through, you can't break through, and such is the result. He needs 3-4 moves to be able to break through here.
That is a nasty move right there.
Knight on h6 suddenly goes from an asset to a problem.
Okay, so Jane Street, board 2 has drawn. So given that Shundi will win and Furfine will likely win, they are close to having it in the bag. For Ernst and Young, they need their board 3, who has lost that advantage over Belarus and has 35 seconds. He needs to find a way to win this endgame.
Belos' style in the earlier season has been very aggressive, trying to destroy his opponents out of the gate. Interesting to see the shift. Okay, this was a bit of an opening disaster.
Whoa. Did we get a queen blunder here by Prashant? Where's Black's queen?
That's a great question.
He lost it.
How did this happen?
He lost it. Oh, he played a6. That was the problem. He allowed a takes b4, and the wheels came on. And then he's like, let me give up my queen too while I'm at it. And then he gave up his bishop too. He's just going to give a bunch of checks and then resign.
I did not know he was representing a charity, but very, very good to see such humanitarian efforts happening.
Okay, so Fashik wins, which means... Wait, that doesn't mean anything. That means PWC is going to be up 3-0, and they're going to be up 4-0 because Barishbalets is destroying Griffiths as well.
Yeah, which, I mean, nothing against Lyft, but after having such a close match, makes me a little bit happy to see PWC with the fight. What happened? Where'd the piece go?
Oh, no, he blundered it. He played b4 and just boom. Oh, and there's a mate threat.
No way.
No, so you had to give up the knight as well. Poor thing.
Wow. That's so gross. H4. What a out of nowhere, everything's falling apart.
And Symmetra is brutal. They are just a powerhouse. They're a waterhouse. They're a powerhouse.
By the way, Jane Street has clinched the victory. Looks like board 2, there was some disaster. That game between Warren Wing and David Ping was balanced, but David comes out on top. Shundi did make it happen. So they are 2.5. They have clinched the victory and will go to the finals.
Look at the final position. Look at this mating move. Queen h5, retreating mate move, ladies and gentlemen. That's literally mate. And every piece is participating without exception of these. Like the bishop, the rook, and the queen in a beautiful symphony of pieces. And by the way, Jacob Furfine, they don't even need it, but I think he's going to deliver the honor goal here as White's position is falling apart.
No, and we do have Symmetra 3-0 now. Cambris came in and does defend first of all, and then win his game. So 3-0 there, 2.5, potentially 3.5 for Jane Street. This will be the finals. Like, this will be an absolute fantastic finals. Great to see from these two teams as they're heading into it and feeling like they are, for the most part, playing some of their best chess here.
Yeah. And then this is the last game remaining here in the winner's circle. It's cosmetic. It's not going to impact the result because it's already 3-0 in favor of Symmetra. But let's see if Samir Majumdar can act as the lone bright spot for Ernst & Young. You know, a lot of these players, it's not just about the team result. You come in and you score a big upset, and you know, next week at work, you get to tell your coworker, they look at you like you're cool because you kind of are, right? Yeah. So this matters a lot.
And I will say, Baradze, if I were him, would definitely want to get a victory in this. Well, he did win that first game against Berish-Polets. He was on the defensive side, and going into the finals, like I like to have the momentum, and winning this game, I think, could make a huge impact for him personally. Mm-hmm. But what is going on? King E7.
That did not going in the right direction. He's also allowing B5 at some point. But Baradze is just chilling. He's just trading all the pieces. Queen C4, he wants Queen D6 check.
Yeah, I do feel like we see a little bit of match strategy from these players. Some chaotic games, but I feel it leans towards some safer decisions when the option arises.
Yeah.
And this feels like one of them, Baradze.
It's hard to motivate yourself when you know your team has won. You're conserving energy for the next round. And let's be clear, as Baradze trades queens here, leaving his
Very
pawns
interesting.
on an island. That's a terrible move.
Yeah, now just
A5, knight d7, some idea like this. Not immediately, though, because now you allow... Wait, b5. Whoa!
A5. I was thinking just king e6 and then knight d5 or knight g4. We're in absolute no rush, but
King f3. White's going to win. This ain't making Dvoretsky's endgame manual new edition, that's for sure.
if it does, it will be a tragic comedy.
Very
Unfortunately,
good
not a
in the
highlight.
That's a great reference. For those who don't know, Dvoretsky wrote tragic comedies in the endgame. He was a big fan. Don't miss a fork.
Okay, but bishop in endgames thrives with pawns on both sides.
Look at that. Knight is dominated.
But in time pressure, knight. Oh, well. As I say that, the knight's just quickly running out of squares. So I was going to say, in time pressure, knights can be fantastic, but Radze is dealing with it very well. Just
And
covering
knights-
the squares.
The knight is bad in more ways than one, and Symmetra will be wishing Ernst & Young good night, as the H-pawn will at some point seal the deal, forcing the black king to step back. Then another pawn will fall. You can even play H6 here, allowing the fork. And he does.
It's just
Okay,
it's-
enough of
it's
this.
nail in the
We got-
coffin.
Why is White still playing? Jacob Furfine is taking all of White's pieces. All of them.
I assumed that game was oof. Oof, yeah, that ending.
And oh my gosh, in the losers section, Lyft did lose 0-4. Everyone lost. We have a lot of blowouts here. Back we go to Baradze's game. Somehow they're still playing. Now we got a past A-pawn.
Now it is worth noting, yeah, in the resignation, the bishop is the right color, hitting that queening square of the a-pawn, so no tricks and time to throw in the towel. What a monstrous performance. Symmetra, full strength, not forfeiting. Board 4 goes 4-0, and Jane Street 3.5 as both teams make it to the final match.
And there's all games are done. So let's be clear. Symmetra is the favorite, right? They're outrating their opposition. But I mentioned Matthias Schundi. He is super underrated. He is capable of bringing down strong GMs. Jacob Furfine has proven himself to be in good form. And a couple of the Symmetra boards have been wobbly. Baradze, Belois, they might not get away with that kind of shoddy opening play. So they have their work cut out for them. And so do we, folks, because you will not want to miss the final matchup. It all comes down to this, as the two strongest teams in the NACCL take on each other to determine the crown. It'll be Symmetra. It'll be Jane Street, and they will be duking it out on all 5 boards when we return to the NACCL finals. Stay tuned.
I don't remember the first opening trap that I learned about, but I do remember the first classical tournament game that I played, which was also my first tournament game in general, featured a trap that I sadly fell for. So it goes like this. This is called the Englund Gambit. It's a terrible opening, don't play it. And you go here. And the idea is to regain the pawn. At this point, I was 8.5. I'd never seen this opening before. And so I chose to defend the pawn with the bishop, which is an excellent move. Now comes the point. Black goes here with the queen. Now, if white blocks the check with the bishop, white is generally much better. Again, don't try this at home. I didn't do that. I went here with my queen. And now, sadly, once black takes this pawn, white is already lost. I don't know what I was thinking. Maybe I was just thinking, bring out the queen, don't move the same piece twice, etc. Evidently, I didn't think enough. And now the idea is that the rook is trapped, and if you go here, protecting the rook, just like in Harry Potter, the bishop comes out.
Once I make my move, the queen will take me. Then you're free to check the king.
and pins the queen. And if that isn't bad enough, white, trying not to lose both the queen and the rook, will probably with the bishop. Then you take the queen, you take with the bishop, protecting the rook, and this is a most embarrassing checkmate. So I don't remember exactly what I did. What I do know is that I lost this game swiftly and I didn't fall for this trap again, and I hope you don't either.
Join the community club on Chess.com and participate in amazing community events every week. On Mondays, challenge yourself with incredible openings in Opening Roulette. Don't miss Untitled Tuesday every week right after Title Tuesday. On Wednesday, join Arena Kings and compete against a lineup of legendary creators. On Fridays, try the all-new Community Freestyle Fridays and throw opening theory out the window. And finally, round out the week by showing off your speed in the Community Bullet Brawl. Win prizes, battle legends, and challenge yourself. Play in the community tournaments every week on Chess.com.
Your brain is a supercomputer capable of millions and millions of complex calculations and decisions. But your brain needs exercise. Practice to keep it sharp and incisive. Chess puzzles are a great way to work out your brain. Daily puzzle solving makes your mind pattern recognition, critical thinking, and memory. Doing puzzles every day makes your mind fit, helping you build creativity, problem solving, and memory skills. Puzzles on Chess.com feature hundreds of thousands of original, beautiful problems tailored to your level. Whether you've never played before or you're a veteran, whatever level you're at, Chess.com's coach will help explain both the puzzle and the solution so you learn as you go. Most importantly, Chess.com puzzles are fun. Find interesting, beautiful solutions while building streaks, leveling up, and competing with friends. Try puzzles today on Chess.com and give your brain the exercise it's craving.
Welcome back. We've got the finals of the North American Corporate Chess League about to get underway as only 2 teams left standing. Symmetra takes on Jane Street. Symmetra, the strongest team with 2 Grandmasters and 2 International Masters, one of whom made it just in time, forfeited the first round, but is here for the most important games. And Grandmaster Caden Trofe is here as well. Caden, hopefully we can get through this matchup without the world ending, but that, I mean, one can wish, you never know. Yeah.
You never know. And what a great finals as the games are going and getting into the action. Jane Street was the season 10 winner. Symmetra, the week 6 top team. So no more fitting end than these 2 teams going at it, and looks like some very interesting positions already. I don't know what to make.
Yeah, sorry, I apologize. I was
games.
just reading the news. I hopefully, yeah. Okay, so we have a double-edged position on board 1. Christopher Yang basically has to win this against Stukopin, because here's the situation. Board 2, we have Jacob Furfine with the white pieces. Another game that I think Jane Street is circling in red, saying, we got to get this one. But it looks like Baradze is off to a great start. He's going to get control over the d5 square. Uh-oh, this is just not looking good right off the bat, I think, for Jane Street.
What happened? I mean, when I was first seeing it, it looked weird, but okay. And now, I mean, the control, those knights jumping in. D takes c4, planting something on d5 is a possibility. c5.
This is nastiness. I would play dc4. I'm just like a classically minded move and then reroute the knight back to d5. Once you plant that horsey on that square, you're good to go. And then you can keep attacking.
Yeah, that's it's easy to think about the weakness an isolated pawn can be, but that square in front of it, I mean, isolated pawn, no pawns are going to be attacking on either side, can be such a beautiful support point, and also covers your queen, and just in case that d file opens.
Furfine played the Grob, says Injera King. No, he played the bird. He played the
Oh.
bird, not the Grob, one to the left. And it's not as good as the other one to the left, one e4. She's got to keep shifting it. Black responded b6, so it was quite the opening. But Jacob allowing this move, which is completely unnecessary, to allow ruining his structure and then going queenside castles, walking right into this unfolding massacre on the queenside.
Yeah, it's a good reminder. We talk about bishops, 2 bishops advantage. We've seen many games like that thus far tonight. But every now and then, a ruining of pawn structure, controlling the center, since that's where the knights typically hit, is those central squares, can just really shift things. And queen d7, oh, with the queen c6 idea. What a beautiful move.
And speaking of surgical, Belarus, again, I keep thinking, oh, he's much better. Then I open the game and he's on the bad side. Like, he's worse again.
I mean, I want to judge, but it's been working for him. He has been getting very okay. Yeah, that's a very fair reason. As
But
this
look at what he
feels like,
played. Sorry, Kate. Go on. I'm just going to quickly run through what he played.
How do we even get there? Yeah, this position feels not only better for Black, but like a long-term, almost hard to go wrong, with very limited breakthroughs that you have to watch out for. Some early tricks. Wow, g5.
But here, instead of f3, which apparently was the best move, he had to allow g5 and go for the piece sack. You can understand why he didn't want to allow it, but f4 is a huge positional concession, locking up the king side and really making sure that the c4 pawn is now permanent. Black has all of the trump cards in this position, but we know how crafty Belarus is at turning around the game. By the way, Stukopin, his longtime friend, is on the cusp of delivering a quick knockout, it seems. What is the White King doing on the king side?
Helping support
he
the
went
pawn push,
g4. He played the Grob. This is even worse. He played g4.
a delayed Grob. Yeah, this feels almost like a panic move. probably feeling that pressure on the C file, deciding he was going to get his own counterplay. But there's a reason we're very conscious about pushing these pawns, especially when the king's on G1.
Oh my God. D takes C4 is crushing. And it's very simple. Bishop C3, D takes C4 in any order. And that's it. It's going to be...
And the light score problems.
Oh, and Belos blundered again. Belos blundered dude, he went G4 in this position. Something tells me Vlad might have been coming from the workplace hard kombucha station.
I think the lesson so far in this matchup is don't play G4, guys. Like, hey, keep those pawns solid, keep them utilizing the defense. G4 in both games that we're seeing back to back, a mistake. And that was just a free pawn.
He might have stayed. It stayed a little bit longer than he should have at happy hour. But that was not just any pawn. That was the Grob pawn. That was the lifeblood of the king side. And something tells me Belos will win this game. This is where his survival instincts kick in.
Okay, I have to argue the other side then. While Belos has proved it time and time again, so I'm likely on the wrong. It just feels so hard to coordinate anything, as that knight on h4 is still kind of a sad piece. And while you do have pressure against the G file, I mean, that's it, right? Like, you only have this pressure along the G file, which David surely can defend. Surely.
And that pawn ain't done. It's like I was on E4,
Ooh.
gathered my energy, boom. E3 slicing off
E3,
entire
what a
queen
great
side.
move.
Queen
E3 is
G3,
fantastic.
Queen G3, G5 maybe. Or even knight H5.
No, the G5. Donnie, I'm learning my lesson. Don't touch the G pawn. The G5 cannot be it. I'm going to sack my queen and checkmate you somehow.
Oh, yeah.
At least that's
just
what
like
I'm
you
taking
were in
away from
Raleigh.
today. Better, great times.
Okay. In the meantime, Furfine is continuing to struggle.
Yes. And board 4, I mean, it could be very important. Matthias Shunde, normally against Yannick, you'd think you don't push for the win, but that one's looking very solid. But with the results on the other boards might require some more adventurous play in this solid position.
This one's over, I think. Bishop. I mean, a couple moves still required for Mr. Stukopin here, but we trust that is Queen G6 check is the computer move. Queen G6, Bishop G3, and then F7, F5. That's the kingside pawn you want to push, but it ain't easy to see that.
No, I'm seeing pawns that I can take, and sometimes that's all my mind can get to.
It's not over. It's not totally over on boards 1 and 2. And then a quick look at board 4, which is very balanced endgame. As you said, Shundi with the black pieces here should try to generate some chances. Easier said than done. Let's take a look at Belos, because the comeback starts with a victory here by David Peng, and all he has to do is find knight back to G6, which just ends the game, essentially.
Oh, knight G6. I mean, it looks fancy. I don't think that one's as difficult as it feels, because white has a threat. We stop that threat, and...
Well, do you play Bishop H3 here? No. Well, actually, maybe you do. No, this gets mated. Takes.
Yeah, push the F pawn.
So you just play F6 or what?
Very, very calm. It feels almost
Computer
too
moves
calm.
just F takes G6.
Oh, of course. Yeah, F takes G6 because queen takes G6.
On the board,
into queen
Queen
H3.
G2 is on the board.
What else? I mean, how do you mess this up? Queen takes H4 feels like a must.
Well, I just did. F takes G6.
Okay.
I was under the
Outside of
impression
bishop takes H3.
I mean, I was thinking maybe queen takes G7, king can walk up to E6, but then the white rook lands on G6. That move, if you miss it, I can see a situation where black goes for it.
Which can happen. In the season before this knockout, there were quite a number of space out moves, which one of them did involve Belos, where Belos's opponent blundered his rook in an endgame, and Belos didn't take it. It is the nature of these fast-paced time controls that sometimes you just space things. But David Peng's been playing a brilliant game so far.
And
just
he
knight takes
continues.
G4, E3.
Yeah, but Bishop G4, I mean, the pieces are going to get traded on G4. Black is 100 pawns up. And white has no queen side. And by the way, Armageddon game about to go in the favor of Jane Street, which is a, small moment of silver lining here, which gives them some relief. Okay, Shundi still in that balanced endgame. Jacob Furfine is fighting. Jacob Furfine is fighting back.
He is fighting, and I mean, looking at the games, it feels like the most likely route for Jane Street to get the victory here is that Jacob Furfine holds for a draw at least. If he's able to draw, that will leave them right now looking like 2-2. And with that Armageddon game coming up Jane Street, that's the clearest path to victory right now. But with that said,
it's a big if.
It's a big if. Although
Stukopin is one. He's up a queen. I mean, white will resign any second. He's up a full queen. Let's take another look at Belous's game here because he is trying to generate counterplay. There's a rook on a8 that's hanging. And black wants some sort of trickery. There must be mate there that he's spotted. Oh, knight b6? I don't see it yet. Kaden, what's the move after queen a8?
I don't either, actually.
Knight c5?
Oh,
knight c5.
Wait, queen f2 is queen f... No, queen b2, bishop f3 saves it. Bishop f3 is what I was missing. I was thinking we had the beautiful bishop b7 after queen g2, but bishop f3, calm and collected.
Apparently, so I was thinking knight c5, but no, then just d takes c5. And at this position, the reason that it's actually white who's winning is queen takes g6. But and the best move is h5, the simple h5. He's played it instantly. David Peng, 2170. That's obviously his Chess.com rapid rating. This guy is for real.
I mean, this is a fantastic game. This honestly is probably been the best game we've seen. Okay, Bellows did not contend the best, blundering at G4, but still, what a fantastic just bobbing and weaving a player's ideas. Bellows, who has just been able to get away with all these sneaky tricks throughout these finals.
Yeah, David Peng, I think, is a FIDE master.
Which would make bishop b7.
Yes. Boom!
Bishop e8.
And queen e1 mate.
Checkmate on its way. What a big victory.
Yeah, that 2170 is a misnomer. He's an FM. He's a child prodigy, and he played like one. So that's a huge, huge win for Jane Street. Now they need a save. They need a save, but it's not looking too likely. Jacob Furfine is struggling here.
Yeah, Baradze had some back and forth, some tough moments in his games, but when it's come game time and his team needed him to show up, he has. He has been very good at showing up when it matters. And this, once again, Furfine looked to be getting back in this game, but Baradze just says, no, I know what I'm doing. Playing very well thus far, but I like this f4 idea. The rook on f8 is trapped.
Their board 4 is still, in a combative endgame. It's not over. It's not dead draw, but it's looking like the likeliest result. I do like f4 as well. It's at least a thought-provoking move. And like you said, the rook is trapped. Maybe knight g4, but it's not so easy to choose a move here for black.
Yeah, I find myself maybe completely ridiculous looking at moves like knight g4, knight e4, maybe knight e4 after taking on e5. So we make sure we take the exchange and just trying to calm the position down a little bit. But that could be exactly what Furfine wants. At this point, it's looking like all he needs is a draw, which is very helpful in this position, putting pressure on Baradze to actually make something of it.
Yeah, in the event that Yannick Combrath defeats Shundi in that rook end game, then he will Furfine needs to win this game. But no, I don't see it happening. Let's check into that rook end game here in Combrath Shundi. Now, let me tell you, 2 minutes, now under 2 minutes for the international master, originally from France. Now, of course, living in the US and working for Symmetra. It's not a symmetrical rook end game.
I I want to say I prefer white here. I mean, seeing that rook on a3,
Four.
the clearest route to losing it just feels like at some point, Shundi forgetting about that rook, it getting trapped.
Or white forgetting about his clock, which is what he's doing right now.
Yeah, why e4? What's the
Gotta
trick? That
move.
feels like a pretty clear.
Okay, Furfine is getting destroyed. Jacob Furfine is about to lose. I'm toggling here, folks, just because this game is about to finish. I mean, look at this. Just everything is falling. BC, and you can't
Ooh,
even take back
that
with the
rook
bishop because the
lift.
knight drops back.
Yeah, that rook lift was fantastic. Rook e6 to c6, just delivering. I mean, Furvine has a light squared bishop, so where do we attack? On the dark squares. Good luck
Whoa.
defending.
I just had a random song start playing in Spotify. Maybe that's the celebratory theme of Oh, and the worst thing is when you play a move like c4 and then you start to think after BC, you're like, oh no.
This looks over.
Queen
I mean,
97 and another pawn will fall.
Queen, I mean, you might as well try Queen a3. Yes, there it is.
Good fighting spirit. Furfine's a tricky guy. You don't want to take your foot out the gas pedal here. This is the decisive game, potentially.
I'm counting the pawns, though, and I'm coming up with the answer that black is up too many. Too many pawns.
Too many to count.
Yeah. What is it? Three pawns in total.
It's going to be 4 if he plays 97. And the most important thing is that Yannick Cambrath has his game under control, but not his clock. That's the one source of hope for Shundi, who's about to go a4 and liberate that rook of his.
Well, King c6, go after the b6
but
pawn.
it's getting tactical.
Yeah,
Rook
King
f2.
e6 is nice.
Gotta go rook f2. Just eliminate this pawn and make your task a lot easier. No, he's allowed black to go king e6 there. What's he doing?
How's he gonna find it? Yeah, King e6 takes it into murky waters, which is everything Shundi wants, and he plays King e6.
It's a draw, but he gives himself a little hope. With 20 seconds, anything can happen. Gotta go b4. Yeah. Still should be pretty drawable here. c5. Pretty easy, I think. What do you think? f3, c6, the pawns cancel each other out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to believe that there's something there for the excitement, but Cambrith he's a bit locked in. It's looking like eventually rook will sacrifice for pawn and rook will
And
sacrifice
Furfine
for
has
pawn.
lost. Jacob Furfine has surrendered. A couple moves from checkmate. Great fight by Shundi. He did everything he could.
Yeah, Shundi. Very accurate game, but unfortunately
Rook d8.
something more wild was needed.
Rook d6. Cambrath is doing everything to make this as unconvincing as possible. I mean, don't tell me he's trying to go rook c6. Just give the rook for the pawn and draw. Yannick.
Yeah, I don't think you can. I mean, even rook c6 likely draws, right? Like, can you really mess this one up?
You cannot mess this. You can mouse slip and you can draw this anyway.
Yeah, that's a beautiful place to be when the technique was so good early on that now you have a bit more freedom.
Go right down Jane Avenue here.
Yeah. Okay, king b7.
All right,
Rook takes
Matthias.
f2 would have been simple, but
yeah,
Symmetra
why
gonna
is he
take it.
He's not, playing in the most convincing fashion. And hats off to Matthias Shundi. I mean, that guy's 2,400 and 2,100 clothing. He's a beast.
Yeah, fantastic play from him. Him and David Peng opened up the door for Jane Street, but it wasn't enough as the lights it seems to be fading out for their final hopes. But
Yeah,
Symmetra,
looks like Symmetra will take it. And how symbolic that they both of these teams score blowouts in the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and then when they meet in the finals, it comes down to one end game because Jane Street won their Armageddon game. So this is as close as it could get.
yeah, and after Symmetra having such a close call in that first round, with the forfeits and a save, I mean, it wasn't an easy route by any means. Yes, the blowouts in the semifinals but while Symmetra and Jane Street seemed to be the favorites, it was a fight to the end.
Wow. Okay, so we have some results here on the other matches, even though obviously they weren't playing for first. We have Ernst & Young versus Meta still going. It's currently 1-1 actually in Ernst & Young versus Meta, but Kent Louis for Ernst & Young is up a queen. Okay, but on the other board, Joel Jaff on the side of Meta, oh, he's not winning this with black. No, this is over. This is over. Right? So Warren is going to draw at least.
It's looking to be 2-2, which means that Armageddon game.
So Warren is playing for Meta, and Meta won the Armageddon game. They won as an underdog. Yash Shah defeated at 2100. White needs to win this.
And seems to be doing so. Two pawns. The pawns running up the board.
And he's going to keep the other pawn protected. It's winning. G7.
G7. He can't even stop the square. No stalemate. Nothing.
And he wins.
Wow.
And because of the Armageddon. Unbelievable. This guy, what is his name? Well, there's so many games. I'm like losing my...
Prothik Pandina winning. I mean, since draw goes to black, and you see it, he just saw he had the draw, went for it, went in a position he could have pushed for the win.
He was dead lost for most of the game. He fought on, he was lost in the end game, and then he makes the draw. And on the strength of his efforts, a last round victory. What a result. It is for Meta. But folks, we are done. We have a champion. That champion is Symmetra. They were the favorites, but their journey was not easy. And in the final round, they met with stiff, incredibly resilient efforts of a very worthy opponent, Jane Street, Jacob Furfine, Christopher Yang, David Peng, and Matthias Schundi were an excellent opponent. But we congratulate Symmetra. And we will try to get one of the teammates of Symmetra for an interview. We're going to try to set that up, folks, so don't go anywhere. We'll try to get the thoughts from the inside. Kate and I will be back with our final segment in just a couple of short moments. Stay tuned.
But this exact position I'm like sure I've had as a kid. So like one of the early kind of serious ones that I learned. And this was kind of topical at the time, which started in the Italian and then here and then knight g5, which attacks f7, which is like, if you're kind of new to chess, then you probably immediately think like, why can't I just attack that pawn and take it? And then I'll attack the queen and the rook and so on. The only way for black to kind of avoid that is to play d5, which is the best move. And then white takes a pawn. And the big question is always like, why can't black take back? Which you can, of course. It's not, you don't lose immediately or anything. But the usual point of this, which is called the fried liver, is that now white sacrifices a knight, black takes, otherwise black's just losing everything, and then we give a check here, which not only gives a check but also attacks the knight. And most people who are kind of new to chess, they're already totally unsure of what to do with black here because they move their king back and then you take here and you're up a pawn for nothing. Or even worse for them, sometimes they go here and then not only are you up a pawn but you're checkmating. And the knight can't go anywhere because of the pin. So the only possible good move, which is not even so bad, is king to e6, and then you're up a piece, but you have this like serious pin, which lasts a really long time. And this is kind of like an opening trap called the fried liver. It, I think, ends up being not the worst opening trap to fall into with black because you can kind of hang on to your knight and hope for the best with your king on e6. But this was like one of the really topical openings as a kid for me.
This is the 1 hour chess lesson you could take to make sure that you have all the starting tips, strategies, and basic understanding to really be ready. By owning the D file, white can do anything that he or she wants. If you don't understand what to do here, you might move the queen to safety on c6 and immediately lose the first lady to bishop to b5. King on the 6th, pawn on the 5th is a winning king and pawn ending where no matter what black does, we are going to be able to bring a new queen to the board. You can also skip the parts that maybe you already know how to move the pieces or the language and jump in at a level that's appropriate to you.
Do you regularly watch any chess streamers or content creators?
Yes. So he's telling the truth.
He's telling the truth. Okay. So who do you watch?
I like watching Hikaru. Yeah, okay, true, but there is something with that behind his answer there as well. There's something because he got a big reaction on that.
Okay.
Do you want to ask him about that?
I mean, feel free to elaborate, Magnus. You like watching Hikaru?
But, well, I root against him.
All the time? Or just online on his streams?
No. General, almost all the time.
What is the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you during a game?
I've peed my pants, I've spilled water on the board, I've knocked over pieces involuntarily, I've pressed the clock without making a move because I thought my opponent had pressed the clock without making a move. Like, it's a long list.
I wasn't talking about your professional career, I meant when you were a junior.
And we are back with one of the key cogs in the Symmetra machine. International Master Irakli Baradze scores a brilliant final round victory over Jacob Furfine and was really one of the key members of the team that propelled Symmetra to the 11th season NACCL victory. Irakli, congratulations. What are your immediate thoughts as your crowned winner?
Oh yeah, the tournament was interesting. Definitely the rounds were kind of interesting and hard, especially the first round. But yeah, we managed to win. We have a good team, and yeah, I'm happy.
So I'm actually very curious that first round against PWC, it was very close coming down to your game. Were you aware of the match results at that point, or are you just focused on playing your game the best you can?
Yeah, I kind of know that if I would lose, it would go to tiebreaks. So yeah, I knew that we would risk if I would lose. So I was trying to hold the position as much as I could. And at the end, yeah, I got lucky and I got a chance to win.
Irakli, can you talk a little bit about the chess culture at Symmetra? What is it like trying to balance a demanding job and your love of the game? Have you been successful thus far, and has the NACCL helped in achieving that balance and rekindling your love of chess while working hard?
Yes, as you can see, we have 4 title players. So we have actually our company have so many title players, and yeah, the company itself supported us, and even some of our coworkers are still watching this stream. And yeah, when you have a support, it's easy.
Well, that's great to hear. Irakli, it's been a long day for you. We will let you enjoy the celebration and the championship together with your teammates, Andrei Stukopin, Vladimir Belois, and Yannick Kambrath, who did manage to show up just at the right time. Hearty congratulations to you on a job well done throughout the whole season.
Many congrats.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to thank all of my teammates and whole Symmetra for supporting us. Thanks, guys. It was a great event.
International Master Irakli Baradze, board 1, board 2, board, you name it, board MVP for Symmetra, who defeats Jane Street with a score of 2.5, 1.5, and they needed that win because a 2-2 tie would have gone the other way with the Armageddon. A victory for Jane Street, and that would have gone the other way. Wrap, Caden, on the NACCL season. I think we have a bracket here. Jane Street, and that would have gone the other way. Wrap.
Yeah, just fantastic to see. I really enjoy this event. I mean, there were over 600 players participating in this, 43 unique companies, as Peter was mentioning early on, and it all came down to this. I love events like this in chess when you have such a wide range of players from different backgrounds, from different situations, and all coming together for one event. So just a wonderful one to be a part of, and couldn't have finished any better, coming down to just one or two games being the decisive factor for Symmetra. So many congrats to them, many congrats to all the teams that participated, and I hope to see more and more companies and players participating as the seasons continue.
Well, it's been growing every season. Of course, FIDE Master Peter Giannatos, our close friend, a fixture not just in Charlotte chess, but in worldwide chess now, and the creator of this North American Corporate Chess League, which keeps on growing, keeps on acquiring new talent, talented players, talented employees, building bonds and bringing amazing competitive chess to all of you. We hope you've enjoyed the final 8. We congratulate one more time Symmetra as well as Jane Street. They're worthy opponents in the finals. And Grandmaster Caden Trofe, Grandmaster Daniel Nerditsky, we hope to see you in the next season. But for now, we bid you a very pleasant rest of your Thursday. We hope to see you in season 12. And we hope to see the champion Symmetra defending their title.
Absolutely.
See you guys later. Have a good night, everyone.